Hey Extreme Team, when you're a collecting addict, sometimes you buy something on a whim. And sometimes you're not sure if you're going to like it that much and you have hashtag regret. And then that piece comes in and it's on fire. Welcome to the Extreme Channel. I'm Mr. X. As I said in the intro, this piece is on fire both figuratively and literally. I guess not really literally, but maybe we can do some CGI. Yeah? So today we're going to review this custom 1/4 scale Ghostrider piece. So a custom means it's a private commission. They only made 30 of these plus a few APs. This is actually one of the APs or artist proofs. And every once in a while people ask me, are APs more valuable? Well, traditionally, artist proof is something that the original artist personally inspected. That doesn't always happen nowadays, and they are just additional numbers added. In some people's mind, they are more valuable, in some people they are not. But I currently own XM Studios Ghostrider right here. I've owned this for a long time. I actually need to do a review on it for you guys sometime, because I have another Ghostrider coming in. I have this custom Ghostrider on a bike to be arriving near the end of August or beginning of September. And this custom piece went up for sale about a year ago when they showed the renders, and I really liked them, even though to me, Ghostrider needs his bike, but I thought, what the hell, I bought him on a whim, as I foolishly do so many times, but every once in a while it really pays off, and I think this is the case for that. Because kind of a spoiler for the review, he is amazing. So Ghostrider, if you don't know who he is, go ahead and watch that god-awful Nicolas Cage Ghostrider movie. It was so bad, and I think I have to watch it this weekend because my son wanted to watch it when he saw this. Just my opinion. But Ghostrider is a Marvel character who was a stunt motorcyclist, and essentially he sold his soul to the devil to save his father's life, and you don't ever make a deal with the devil because things go wrong. So at night he transforms into this crazy beast who is almost immortal. He's almost impossible to kill, and with his bike he can do some crazy stuff, and obviously he can light himself on fire, and there's some satanic occult stuff. And I'm not a huge fan of Ghostrider in the comics. While I'm not a big fan of the movie or him in the comics, I am a fan of the character. I think kind of like the Predator and Alien movies. Sometimes I'm not a big fan of that particular movie, but I love the character himself, and I think that's the case here. And this statue really embodies that, even though it doesn't show his key characteristic of his motorcycle. So let's jump into this review, and we're going to start with concept. Now, since this isn't based on source material, it is just out of the art director and the sculptor's imagination, we'll just take a look at it and says, does it embody Ghostrider? Is it cool? So let's start at the base here. So you have a street base here, and on the side of it, you can actually see beneath the street. You see some mud layering. We'll look at the paint and sculpt later. On top of it, you have a basic street, which is traditionally where you always seem to find Ghostrider, riding the street, going after evildoers. And you have a couple things going on. You have the cracked pavement, and you have a manhole. And inside the manhole, you have a pentagram of fire, which is awesome. A little bit of satanic reference there. And you have fire all around the base of this. And as you can see, there is a light up feature, which it looks good with it on or off. This is one of the few statues I really like the light up feature. And as you move up Ghostrider, he's in his traditional garb. He's a biker. You see black jeans, leather coat, boots with these awesome spikes all over him, which is very Ghostrider-like. They're on his boots, on his gauntlets, on his shoulder pads. And he has this traditional chain wrapped all around him. His chain kind of has a life to its own. He can make it do things, and that's very evident in this as well. And as you get to his portrait, he has a number of switch-out portraits, and I actually love them all. I thought there would only be one that I really liked, but I love them all equally. So it's a museum pose, a little bit of action to him. What's so cool about this is it embodies Ghostrider without his bike. It makes him badass. It shows his powers. It shows his origins. It shows his history. Very, very cool. I never thought that you could give Ghostrider a perfect concept without his bike, but I'm going to do it. I think this is a 5 out of 5. I absolutely love it. He looks menacing. He looks evil. His enemies would definitely be on the run if they saw this guy walking down the street. Now with designs, quite a few things going on. Let's get the measurements first. One big advantage this has is it's a Ghostrider that truly embodies the character, and since he doesn't have his bike, it doesn't take up a huge footprint. In fact, the depth of the piece is just under 16 inches, and he's only about 13.5 inches wide. And the highest point is probably his chain, but we'll look at his fire head right here, about 23 inches. The chain maybe a half an inch more. Actually, it's pretty close. And you can switch out some heads. So let's look at that and the light up options really quick. Here is his closed mouth portrait. This is probably my least favorite, even though it's still pretty badass. Then you have the skull with the open mouth. I really like this, and one of the things you're about to see here is the light up one. His tongue is a flame of fire. That's pretty cool. And last is a transformation portrait. So he still has his sunglasses on at night. I wear my sunglasses at night. And you can see his skin melting away. I didn't think I'd like this one, but I really like it. And then here it is lit up. And for the other light up features, here's the base with it not lit up. It still looks pretty cool. But then you have it lit up, looks even better. And I actually posted pictures of him in the dark on the Extreme Channel Facebook page. You can check that out. The link is in the description. Make sure you follow and like that. But now let's dive into the assembly of him. Box wasn't too big, which was nice. It did have a small art box on the top where it had a picture of Ghostrider. Kind of neat. I'm not big into art boxes. Standard custom black foam with the straps that actually ended up having two different layers. First layer had Ghostrider, his portrait, a few of the other accessories. And the second layer had the base and some more portraits. Now you would think assembling him is very easy, and for the most part, it was. I mean, there's not a lot of different pieces. So right here it takes two AA batteries in the base, and they were a little difficult to get in there because they were wedged back in, which I kind of appreciate because then they're not sticking out or pushing the manhole cover out anywhere. But it took a minute to get those in. That's what she said. And it's a simple button underneath the manhole, and the pentagram fits right into the top of the manhole. Ghostrider keys in with one foot, and then the other foot does have a footprint, so you know you're putting him in the right spot. Now as you can see, I'm ruining the magic for you guys. We kind of did it out of order. I forgot the chain, so actually on the left you can see them displayed without the chains, which is actually another display option. The chains were kind of a bitch to put together. They are somewhat pliable, and you actually had to use that to your advantage a little bit. They each have a key or a peg that goes into another chain, so to find out which goes where and what order did take me a little bit of fumbling, but once it's on there, it is very secure. Yeah, I said once it's on there. Once it's on there, it is very secure. But what's interesting to me is he kind of still looks badass without the chain as well. So where his neck is, it takes two LR44 batteries. Those are those small watch batteries. And again, it was a little bit difficult to get the case off of there and put them in, especially when you have very large hands. And you know what they say about guys with very large hands? They need to wear big gloves. And lastly, we have the portrait. So I like what they did with the light up features. I like that he was all just one piece other than his portrait. Chain was a little bit of a pain to put together. However, the fact that it's a light material and it's painted really well, I think is a huge props on this. One thing, looking down here, you do see a little bit of light coming out when it's lit up. So who looks at a statue from down here? But that does, I think, take away from the fact it can't be a perfect design. But again, I give them props because it's a Ghostrider. You can display that doesn't take up a big footprint. I think the 3 switch out portraits are perfect. The light up features, this is probably my favorite light up features on any statue that I have. So I'm going to give the design a 4 out of 5 on this piece. Lately I've been doing the video reviews of the close-up paint and sculpt. I'm going to do that again. So let me know in the comments if you like that or if you like the stills with the voiceovers better, because anytime you enter into a comment, it actually enters you into a monthly contest. And we also have this statue giveaway that'll probably happen in the next 3 or 4 days. On our road to 20,000 subs, we are giving out this Mortal Kombat statue at 12,500 subs. All you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, and you've hit that bell notification and stay tuned for that giveaway. So I turned off the light up features to give you a better idea with the paint and sculpt, and we'll start at the bottom as we usually do. To what I would say, both paint and sculpt wise, is the weakest part of the statue. And a lot of times I'm never really happy with this. So this is kind of your underground, whether it's mud or dirt or a different type of clay or rock material. Shading on here looks okay, looks kind of boring. Of course, you're never looking at this part of the statue. Sculpt looks really good though. I think they did a nice job with the different textures and layering. Kind of looks like real clay. Really quick, let's look at the flames here. They're semi-translucent resin. You have different colors, the red going up into the orange tips. I like the fact they didn't go too crazy on the orange down here. And we'll see some of that in the sculpt, but it's more of a red, which to me is kind of more of an evil. And when that light up feature is on, it does pierce through it and make it a little bit brighter, some different colors. Would have been neat if it could flicker a little bit, I guess. But let's look at the top, this street. This looks amazing. The paint and sculpt on it are just fabulous, like this blacktop parking lot, or obviously there's a manhole maybe in the middle of the street. Looks real. And the same thing can be said about the manhole. This looks like a real manhole. The paint is amazing on this. And then the sculpt, really well done. Now Ghostrider obviously is a lot of black, so I think what they did to mix it up is they don't have the same continuity in the textures. Starting at his boots, these look like real leather boots. You have some folds in there, some stitching. The buckles look fantastic. Look at the paint job on these buckles. Really well done. And then the spikes, the metal spikes he has all over, have kind of this faded black splattered paint on there, almost like it's getting old. And you're gonna see that in the chain and some of the other metal parts as well. But great job on the boots. And then his pants, even better job. They have this linear texture on them. Again, more folds and seams, a few semi-rips and tears. Then detail in his pockets. Really, really well done. And it's crazy when you can get this micro focused and detailed and you can't find much wrong with it. There's his Ghostrider package. You wonder if that's just bone. But check out his belt. Looks like a real belt. The detail on this, again, the paint's great. A little bit of messy paint right there, micro focused. But same thing on these spikes that I talked about earlier. You see now kind of that faded color look. His leather jacket looks like real leather. So it's not that linear texture, but it's kind of a leather type material. And again, this is fully sculpted. And look at the detail in the zippers. Crazy. They just did a fantastic job on every part of this. The paint, the sculpt. I like how it's semi-shiny, semi-not. Check out the gauntlets on his arms here. Again, you see more of that copper and black coloring. And the same thing can be said about the chain here. It's a little bit lighter, but I like how worn it is. You see some yellow colors on there, along with the coppers and blacks and browns. So let's look at his portrait, starting with his fire. This looks great. I like the flow of it. The directionality looks very good. You see a lot of what we saw below, but it's more detailed, a lot more in there, so it almost looks like flames, even when it's off. And then the portrait. This portrait is phenomenal. I think this is my favorite one, actually. The coloring on it looks great. So it doesn't look like, you know, old skulls, but it doesn't look like new skulls. It's kind of somewhere in between, but just scary as hell. Really well done on that. And his other portraits here. So this one very similar, other than the fact that his mouth is closed. But again, so much detail, even in like the cranium of the skull. But we'll focus a little bit more on this guy down here. So here, the skin melting off. I like that they went with the orange color with all that black shadowing in it, and where the skin is kind of ripping and he's screaming almost in pain or agony. And the sunglasses, I didn't like at first, but they really grew on me. But look at that. Paint is great, sculpt is fantastic. Still has the ear. Would have been cool if maybe one of the ears was ripped off. But overall, this is a fantastic job on every level. Very impressed with this piece. So on the sculpt on this piece, there is so much micro detail from the base, the manhole, it looks real, his jacket, the zippers, it is just unbelievable. I think I have to give the sculpt on this a 5 out of 5. I love the portraits as well. This is really, really incredibly well done. So regarding the paint, I'm really trying to find a reason why the paint is not perfect. But I think it is. I think the paint's perfect as well. Everything we looked at, I'm trying to find a flaw in it. I don't think I can. I think it's also a 5 out of 5. Now let's talk about value on this statue. They only made 30. Very low edition size. I think you don't have a huge buyer base because Ghostrider isn't super popular. He doesn't have his bike. I think that hurts it. This was expensive because the edition size was so low. This was 1,300 euro, which is like 1,600 US. Plus shipping was another couple $100. So you're almost $2,000. You're a couple $100 less than that, all in for this piece. However, I have no doubt I could get my money back for this. And then I think there's certain advantages because of the light up features, the fact it doesn't take up a big footprint, and just the amazing paint and sculpt on him. So I think the value, however, it is still a heavy price tag for a 1/4 scale, non-elaborate figure. So I think it's a 3 out of 5 on value. I would have never expected such a small, simple piece with such a high price tag to say, hey, this is worth a lot of money. But I think the 30 edition size is a big part of that as well. So overall, does this have the X factor? That's not a cumulative score. That's when I walk by, is this statue awesome? This is a 5 out of 5 statue without a doubt in my mind. I always thought XM Ghostrider was almost the perfect Ghostrider. This one beats it. If I had to sell one of those two, I would sell that one first. Let me know what you guys think. If you could choose between the two, which one would you choose? Throw money out of the window. That's what I do when I buy statues anyway. But awesome, awesome piece. Thanks for tuning in and sharing my excitement with me. This is more excited than I've been in a while for a statue. This is truly something special. Really appreciate you guys watching. Please hit that Mr. X logo and subscribe if you want to see that upcoming Ghostrider on Bike review, or check out some of these other custom statue pieces. Talk to you tomorrow. Take care.